everyone, welcome back. This is going to be part 2 of my series where an atheist like me reads the Bible for the first time and gets a good reaction to it. So if you're into that, stay tuned after this. Okay, so we're back. This is me, an atheist. I've never read the Bible before. So before we get too far along into this, if you like what I'm doing, please like this video below, subscribe so you never miss any of the future videos that are coming out. And if you missed my last video in this series, this is the second video. I will link to it above, somewhere above my head here, with the card. And make sure you watch that and so you can get the full picture. Basically, we got through Genesis 1 in the last video, and Genesis 2, we got through verses 1 through 14. So this time we're going to start with verse 15. So let's get right into it. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. And the Lord God commanded the man, "You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will certainly die." The Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." Now the Lord God had formed out of the ground all the wild animals, all the birds in the sky. He brought them to the man to see what he would name them, and whatever the man called each living creature, that was its name. So I'm not sure why God didn't name the creatures themselves. I guess he just decided he wanted to leave that to man. I guess that's a good way for the Bible writers to say how everything gets named, because man did it, I guess. But he also said he was going to make a helper, but then just started bringing the animals to name things. Where's the helper? I guess we'll have to read further to see. So the man gave names to all the livestock, the birds in the sky, and the wild animals. But for Adam, no suitable helper was found. So the Lord God caused the man to fall into deep sleep, and while he was sleeping, he took one of the man's ribs, and then closed up the place with flesh. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib, and taken out of the man, he brought her to the man. The man said, "This is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she is taken out of man." This is the story of how Eve was made from Adam. We all heard that before. But he named all the livestock, and then I guess God was thinking all the wild animals would have been a helper for him, but it didn't turn out to. That's why they didn't make the woman right away. So that's a little bit weird. But I guess eventually they made woman out of a rib of man. That led to some weird people thinking that men have one less rib than women, which is not true. But we all have the same amount of ribs. But that's where it came from. So let's jump into the last couple verses of this chapter. That is why man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh. Adam and his wife were both naked, and they felt no shame. Okay, well that's the end of the chapter. I'm not really sure why we needed to know they were naked and felt no shame, but I guess that's coming up in future chapters with more information. Like I said, this one's going to be a little bit short. I got a little carried away in the first episode of this. So I am going to try to keep it a little bit shorter, but let's jump into Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" The woman said to the serpent, "We may eat from fruit and from the trees in the garden, but God did say you must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it or you will die." This is the snake part of it, and she's recalling what God said to Adam. So I'm not sure, there's no mention that God told this to her, but this is a pretty good game of telephone, because from what we just read, God told Adam he couldn't eat it or he will die. Now Eve is saying even if she touches it, she'll die. Let's keep reading on. "You will not certainly die," the serpent said to the woman, "for God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." The woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom. She took some and ate it. She also gave some of it to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realized they were naked, so they sewed fig leaves together and made coverings for themselves. So the serpent was right. right? He said, if you eat this, you'll be able to see good and evil, just like God can, right? So the serpent didn't lie, and they ate the fruit, and I guess now they realize they're naked, so they're covering themselves up. It's a little weird, like, turn of events, but I guess it's okay. Let's keep going. We're on verse 8. Then the man and his wife heard the sound of the Lord God as he was walking in the garden. In the cool of the day, they hid from the Lord God among the trees and the garden. But the Lord God called to the man, "Where are you?" He answered, "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." And then he said, "Who told you you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree I commanded you not to eat from?" The man said, "The woman put here with me, she gave me some fruit from the tree, and I ate it." Then the Lord God said to the woman, "What is it that you have done?" The woman said, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." Well, let's rehash what actually went down. The serpent never deceived her, right? The serpent said, if you eat this, you'll be able to know good and evil. I'm not really sure where the nakedness comes from, the good and evil, but the serpent certainly did not deceive her. It opened her eyes just like it said he would. So it's weird that now she's blaming the serpent for something that A, she did, and B, Adam is blaming her for something he did. So nobody's really taking responsibility in this last couple verses for the situation that's at hand. So we're on verse 14. So the Lord God said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock and all wild animals. You will crawl on your belly, and you will eat dust all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." To the woman he said, "I will make your pains in childbearing very severe. With painful labor you will give birth to children. Your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you." So he obviously God is blaming the serpent as well for something that he is ultimately responsible for, because he put the tree in the garden to begin with. So this is kind of crazy. Now, he was a serpent all along. Wasn't he crawling on his belly anyway? So this is not really a change in his life. He's eating dust, but we know snakes don't eat dust. They eat animal rodents and other things. So that's a little weird. There was no mention prior to this about childbearing from Eve, so I guess that's a totally new thing. And I guess this is how he's punishing her to have painful childbearing, but I'm not really sure why that will be a thing. And then he's making Adam the ruler over her. So not a lot of good things happening to Eve here, so that's not really a fair thing, because he's not really punishing Adam at all. Let's keep going. To Adam he said, "Because you listened to your wife and ate the fruit from the tree from which I commanded you, you must not eat from it. Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil you will eat food from it all the days of your life. It will produce thorns and thistles for you, and you will eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your brow you will eat your food until you return to the ground, since it was you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you will return." Basically, he's saying Adam's going to have to work. That's a lot of words for him to say Adam's going to have to work. But I'm not really sure how that's an equal punishment to both the serpent and to Eve. So let's wrap up this last few. We're on verse 20. Adam named his wife Eve because she would become the mother of all the living. The Lord God made garments of skin for Adam and his wife and clothed them. And the Lord God said, "The man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat and live forever." God gave him clothes, okay? But who is he talking to? Is these other gods? He can't eat and be immortal. He can't eat from this other tree to be immortal and be like them. So who? Like who? I wish they would name who these other people are that God's talking to, because he's clearly not talking to Adam and Eve in this verse. So that was a little weird. We'll keep going. The Lord God banished him from the Garden of Eden to work the ground from which he had been taken. After he drove the man out, he placed on the east side of the Garden of Eden a cherub and a flaming sword flashing back and forth to guard the way to the tree of life. Basically, at the end of this, God banished Adam and Eve from the garden, or actually just Adam, didn't say what what happened to Eve, to work the field so he could feed himself, basically. But then he put, looks like a cherub in front to guard, and a sword to guard the tree. Again, why are these trees in this garden? First of all, God's not taking any responsibility for what happened. And B, why does this have to be defended? You know, if you kick them out, then you're all powerful. You should be able to keep them out, right? So that's the end of Genesis chapter 3. So we wrapped up chapter 2 and chapter 3 in this video. Hopefully you liked my reaction to it and got something out of it. In the comments below, tell me what you're excited. Those of you that have read the Bible, what in the next couple chapters are you excited to hear about and see my reaction to? But hopefully until next time, you have a great night. Bye.